Virgo, a very warm welcome. My name's Drew. This is Modern Tarot. This is a reading for the last couple of weeks of May, okay, 15th to the 31st. Guys, I apologize if these are late getting out to you, maybe by a day or two. Just been so busy with personal readings, so forgive me, okay? So, Virgo, those of you that are new here, by the way, welcome. And those of you returning, welcome back. And so, Virgo, let's have a look at this. One more shuffle, and we're going to go straight into this reading. Let's see what's coming up for you, okay? Not what's going down, Virgo, positivity, right? What's coming up for you throughout the last couple of weeks. Now, remember, these are not personal readings, guys. Personal readings take on a way different flavor. They're more direct. People, places, and things, right? It's more focused. So take what resonates, guys, and leave the rest behind. Okay, it might be a little bit of a lacking of coming together. Could be in work, love, life, okay? But you are getting outside of your head, all right? The undercurrent of this reading, Virgo, we got the Nine of Swords in reverse, okay? So you might find that your mental stress is kind of like easing up a little bit throughout the last couple of weeks of May, which is great, right? That's always welcomed. Let's have a look. Look, center of your reading. It's a beautiful card, all right? It's a fairy tale card in tarot. This is the Ten of Cups. Which is, it's emotional bliss. 10 rainbow-filled cups in the sky. Beautiful couple here, couple of kids. Beautiful terracotta roofed house in the background, surrounded by foliage and plants and greenery. That's the center of the reading. Now, it could be something you're aspiring to, something that's heavily on your mind. The challenge, okay, Virgo, the challenge we've got is, we got the Ten of Pentacles, okay? Money might be an issue. Just watch your money, all right? Go through your statements and make sure that there's no direct debits coming out that you don't use anymore. If you're not using Netflix, then, cancel that. Paramount, whatever you subscribe to. Just, watch your finances, all right? But, if this is about love for you, Virgo, throughout the last couple of weeks of May, it might be a struggle to build with somebody. So you might be happy. You want to be happy. That's your focus throughout the last couple of weeks. But it's a challenge to get there with somebody. We've got the Ten of Pentacles, all right? The reason why it's all happening, all right, is we got the Page of Swords here. Now, either you, Virgo, or somebody else, okay, might be spying and trying to find out information. So, it could be, look, I feel really happy. We seem quite happy, but we're not really building together. Okay, what's that all about? Let me do some intel work. All right, so somebody could be spying on you, or you could be spying on someone. It doesn't have to be sinister, guys. It could just be, being discerning and wondering what someone's all about and what they're up to, what their true motive or agenda is. Okay, is it long term? Is it short term? Are they here for a reason? Are they here for a season? Are they here to stay? So, this is the reason why it's all happening. So you might have kind of like really been watching somebody, okay? Recent past, okay? Virgo, we got the Two of Cups in reverse here. So look, in the upright, this is two people coming together. It's almost like a spiritual union. Their cups are at the same height. There's no competition in relationships like this. It really is, we've got each other's backs. Our cups are at the same level, meaning no one's above the other, no one's behind, and no one's in front, okay? And, when one of them are down, the other one raises their cup, to fill that cup. And it's kind of like alchemy within a relationship, If you think of, the Temperance card, which is very Sagittarian energy, but, their cups are at the same height. In Temperance, it really is like both cups are being filled, okay? So, in the recent past, I don't know whether you felt that loving feeling slipping or the depth of the connection might have slipped a little bit, Virgo. Whatever this might mean, okay? Recent past. I don't want to focus too much on your past. It's all about healing, growth, and forward movement. All right, your focus this last couple of weeks throughout May, all right, your focus seems to be unsticking yourself. So we've got the Two of Swords here, okay, and it's in reverse. In the upright, this would really talk about, being at a crossroads, maybe having two decisions to make, not knowing which way to go. And therefore, indecision becomes a decision, and it becomes quite burdensome. And it's a feeling of stuckness. Why can't I make a decision, Because either road isn't clear. So you, Virgo, throughout the last couple of weeks of May, you are going to be unsticking yourself from what we don't know yet. All right, we're going to go deeper with this reading. What you don't see coming towards you, all right, I think this came out in a previous reading. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. Some of you might be offered, contracts. Work might pick up for you. We've got the Knight of Pentacles here. It's slow, it's prudent, it's pragmatic. The Knight of Pentacles, it crosses the T's, dot the I's. And so, things might go slow, okay, but they are grounded, whatever this might mean, all right? You don't see this coming, by the way. That's a little surprise. But we're going to layer this reading like an onion, and I'm going to clarify, okay? Your energetic field, Virgo, you can't walk away from something, whatever that might be. So let's say that you're with someone and, yeah, it seems emotionally quite blissful, but we're just not taking it to the next level. We're not building together, And I think a previous reading of yours was, going in different directions, not looking at a relationship maybe, in the same, through the same lens, or, we're not on the same page. Do you know what I mean? So, but you're unable to walk away. It's your energetic field. You're struggling to walk away from something. Outside influences, again, this is a card of, not making major life decisions, outside influences. Now, this could be someone that is not really decisive. When we enter into relationships and all these kind of things, and we go, all right, babe, let's do this, do you want to move to Ontario, wherever that might be, right? Do you want to move to London, and you're living in the West Country of the UK? Or do you want to move to Ireland? Do you want to go to Dublin? And, it's like two people coming together, Two of Cups energy, all right, got each other's backs. Yeah, we're going in the same direction. Let's make major life decisions here to build, okay? But it's in reverse as an outside influence. I'm just wondering whether you've resorted to really doing some intel work, maybe on your partner, Virgo, or somebody around you that you would like to have built with. Just to see where they're at and what's really going down. Why aren't you building with me, And it's a fear of yours, okay? Is there reciprocity here? All right, Six of Pentacles in reverse. It's a fear of yours. I don't want to give too much to a situation. I don't want to totally invest if we're not on the same page. All right, outcomes. All right, we've got the King of Cups here. All right, this might be somebody new coming into your life. All right, this might be an older water sign, all right, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, who might be quite significant or may have something to do with you unsticking yourself throughout the month. So let's say, you're working on a project, you don't see it coming, and it might be coming to fruition, although it's moving slowly. This dude here, King of Cups, might be instrumental, okay? So watch out for that. And I think that came out in a previous reading of yours as well. Something to do with work, and there was an older figure, somebody quite wise, mature. He's quite loving and not super sentimental, but, he has deep emotions, but doesn't really speak about them. He's sensitive as opposed to sentimental. And that's an outcome of yours. Now, that could be emotional maturity. Somebody, might be, wising up or stepping up emotionally throughout the last couple of weeks of May. So let's clarify this reading, Virgo, and get to the bottom of, what might potentially go down or go on around you, okay? Seems to be a mix of work and love, okay? But, there is a lot of... There's a lot of cups and a lot of pentacles. So I think really the significance of elements within your last 2 weeks of May might be something to do with stability, money, and emotions, okay? So it could be a love reading, but also the practical side of love, building together and pooling finances and making things happen, all right? So why is the Ten of Cups the center of this reading? It's the center issue, if you like. Okay, some kind of disappointment, Virgo, all right? You might be feeling a little bit apathetic. So it's almost like, I have somebody around me maybe, but, I'm not really feeling it, So I don't know what went down, or something has happened where there's been a little bit of a change or a switch up in your relationships. For those of you, it's not a personal reading, guys. For those of you that are committed in relationships. Okay, the challenge, okay, we've got the Ten of Pentacles, all right? And then we've got the Queen of Pentacles. Some of you guys, it might be to do with finances and really working on your coin, and it might be a bit of a challenge for you. Okay, you might be really studying the competition throughout the last couple of weeks of May, researching and these kind of things, all right? But this is a challenge, okay? So the Ten of Pentacles, and then we've got the Queen of Pentacles. So it might be a challenge for you to nurture something, okay? Because the Ten of Pentacles is about building, right? And it's a relationship card, the Ten of Pentacles. It's a legacy, all right? It's the dog, the cat, the home, the car, these kind of things. It might be a challenge of you to nurture a situation that you felt a little bit disappointed in. So why are you spying? Okay, you're spying, okay, whatever this might be, you're spying on something or doing some intel work, Virgo, as to why things didn't move forward or why, you haven't moved on to calmer waters, okay? And you haven't moved on from whatever it might be. What's the Two of Cups in... Yeah, look, we've got the Ten of Cups and we've got the Two of Cups in the recent past, So there might be, a connection around you which is slowly slipping away, all right? And it once made you very, very happy. It was your Ten of Cups, right? And it's the center of this reading. So it might be a bit of a focus of yours throughout the last couple of weeks. You want to unstick yourself, okay? And then we've got the Seven of Cups in reverse here. So you want to come out of confusion. You want to come out of the mire. You want to come out of these feelings of, not being sure and being decisive. I don't know what's happening, Virgo, all right? What you don't see coming towards you, we got the Knight of Pentacles and we got the Five of Cups, all right? So this is like slowly maybe getting more and more disappointed, Virgo, okay, with the situation. I'm wondering what it's all about, to be honest. Yeah, look, you're unable to walk away from some kind of perceived betrayal. Could have been an actual betrayal, okay? But it comes in many forms. You would agree, Virgo. Someone can betray us by not showing up on time. Not valuing our timekeeping when it might be really important to us. It could be, spilling our private business to, in public places, these kind of things. It's a form of betrayal. So it could be cheating, these kind of things, all right? So you're unable to walk away from some perceived betrayal, Virgo. Outside influences, someone not being really sure, not making major decisions here is kind of like making you a little bit unhappy. And there's no clarity as to why. And I think there was a reading about who was coming towards you, who's thinking about you. And this person seemed to want to keep it at that level. They didn't want to take it any further. They wanted to just keep, whatever's going up or down with Virgo, they wanted to keep it at this level with not really moving forward and investing, And I think it was to do with fear. They actually, deep down inside, they might come across as, yeah, I'm totally in it, but they have a fear of commitment due to childhood or things like that, okay? You're fearing, okay, in your fears, you've got a lack of reciprocity and then you've got a choice. It's in your fears. So it seems like you're fearing making a choice about something that doesn't seem fair or equal give and take. One of you might be investing more than the other. And the outcome, all right, you're actually going to free up your emotions, Virgo, with the King of Cups here, all right? You're going to take the emotionally mature route and unstick yourself from whatever this might be. Might be emotional funk throughout the last couple of weeks of May, okay? So what I want to do now, I just want to have a quick look at, so we've got the Ten of Cups, all right, center of your reading, which is emotional bliss, it's a great card in love, it's a beautiful card, feeling happy. The sun is coming out to play, And then we've got the card of apathy, the Four of Cups, where you don't even see maybe even new people around you that are showing you attention or would like to get to know you. You don't even see them because you're focused on the Three Cups over in the distance, I'm serious about us. I want to build with you. This it might be you, Virgo. You really want to build with someone, but it's a challenge to get them to really build, pooling resources, taking it to the next level, nurturing a situation. Okay? Why is that here? So, and there might be silence, between you guys. My silence is not a game. Please leave me be. I'm just wondering whether, somebody doesn't want to address the situation because they are unsure. And that makes you unsure, Virgo. I can totally relax and be my authentic self around you. And it came out in reverse. So you're spying. You can't move on from something, Virgo, some kind of perceived betrayal. And you're wondering now, can I be completely relaxed and authentic around you? Because I feel that something's amiss. All right, you wanted to Netflix and chill. You wanted that serenity, that peace. Within a Two of Cups connection. And then I had an ulterior motive and hidden agenda. But that came out in reverse. So that's you. I don't think you were playing any games here, Virgo. Or you're not going to be throughout the month of May. And then you want to unstick yourself, okay? Even though some of you might be contemplating leaving situations, or you might find it hard to move on or walk away from perceived betrayals, you might want to unstick yourself, even though you might not have many options. In time, maybe we could be friends. I'm just wondering whether there might be emotional distance in your connections really right now, okay? There are too many people involved in this, whatever this might mean. So that could be, family and friends. Somebody's out socializing too much and they're not building the connection. When you just want to, maybe Netflix and chill and, talk about future plans and these kind of things. The outcome looks quite good though. We got, the King of Cups, which is like, emotional maturity. Could be a person that's going to help you unstick yourself, by the way. King of Cups, he's mature, he's fairly wise. He might give good emotional advice. Okay, let's have a look. Why is that here? So we have got player uncommitted, divorce affected. So Virgo, this has come out in a reading about who's thinking about you. Check that out. I mean, I might post it at the end of this reading. I'm not sure which ones are published first, but if not, you can just search the channel. But it really was somebody feared commitment due to childhood. When your primary caregivers abandon you, the child from divorce, sometimes they internalize it and they think it's their fault. And so they're because the primary caregivers have kind of like left them, perceived, abandonment issues. What they do is they don't really commit later on in life unless that's really handled and addressed, all right? Deep healing, therapy sometimes. So, this person might have been affected in their childhood by divorce and it makes them a little bit uncommittal, okay? It's an interesting reading. I think you've been trying to build with somebody there that they might come across as, emotionally mature, okay, but they still have issues that maybe they are outside of their awareness. They might be very, unconscious fears, and some of them could be irrational, right? Long distance travel, okay. Some of you might be thinking about people at a distance. You might be planning trips, okay. Maybe going home to see family, friends, or whatever, or maybe that's something that you might like to do to create some space, long distance travel. Okay, and then we've got mature person. So Virgo, watch out for a King of Cups who might give you some great emotional advice to help you unstick yourself, okay? And there might be somebody older than you at a distance. Could be a family member, right? It could be, mother or father, at a long distance, but they might, really be kind of like a support network or quite important to you throughout the month of the last couple of weeks of May, all right? So some advice around this situation, Virgo. Look, it's only 2 weeks. I'm not saying it's the end of a relationship. Actually, I just wanted to go on to that, actually. You find it hard to walk away from some perceived betrayal, okay, which has made you feel maybe a little bit anxious, although you're coming out of it. The undercurrent of the reading was you're trying to free yourself from that. What's that all about? I'm not as deep as you. Just wondering whether you were the deeper one. You really saw this beautiful connection here, but this person might not be showing up the way that you would like them. Virgo, and it might be causing you a little bit of disappointment that things are. Maybe you've known this person for some time, and it's things aren't just they just aren't progressing to the next level. Let's have a look. Acceptance in reverse. I am learning to accept the things I cannot change. Um, maybe this person hasn't changed, or they're not changing, or they're not transforming this, something maybe from childhood, guys, which is still affecting them in adult life. And that could be, they could be in their 50s, their 60s, they could be, 25, 35, whatever. It's ageless. Those kind of issues, if unaddressed, they can really manifest into self-sabotaging beautiful connections and all these kind of things, all right? Let's have a look. Virgo, something you might consider throughout the last couple of weeks: will, expression, assertiveness, self-control, direction. Somebody might be self-centered there. I don't know where that word came from. Maybe just my poor reading. But anyway, look, Virgo, expression, assertiveness, self-control, and direction. And I really think this reading is about that. I think you're disappointed that you're not going in the same direction. And you might feel this Two of Cups energy kind of like slipping away, or it has slipped away, and you're unable to move on from some kind of betrayal. And it just might be a case that, one is deeper than the other, Let's have a look here. So I want to leave you with some positive messages. It's not a negative reading, Virgo. It really is about you unsticking yourself from emotional fog, going for your passions, living your best life, becoming your own best friend, regardless of how this person's showing up. And, getting wise counsel from people. If you're in relationships that aren't going in the direction that you want, get wise counsel from people that are in happy relationships that, they're forward thinking, they move together. Not people that are in, miserable situations. Don't get advice from them because, their CV, doesn't look very great, does it? Right, you're appreciated, okay? Your friends and family appreciate you more than you know, Virgo. Keep that in mind. Your support network, okay? As I say, some of you, it might be, a parent, could be someone older than you at long distance, might, give you some great wise counsel, okay? So look out for that. Other than that, I want to leave you with one more, okay? One of these, Virgo, all right? Something to consider, like a little mantra or something to think about throughout the last couple of weeks of May, okay? Message for Virgo. Right, Virgo. As soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power towards what I want. I'll read that again for you, okay? As soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power towards what I want. So, Virgo, this, there was another card there, which was all about direction, I think it was, expression, assertiveness, self-control, and direction. Direction is key throughout this month. And, you might get some wise counsel on, how you can unstick yourself from that. Some of you might be in situations where you don't really have many options, but to stay. So there is somebody out there, friends and family will really support you, they appreciate you, Virgo. So, really foster those connections, okay? I think you're surrounded by someone here that I think they've been affected, in childhood. And although they might show up every day for you, like boyfriend, girlfriend or whatever, or, husband, wife, they have this, one foot in, one foot out because it's too scary to fully commit and build with. Does that make sense? And it's a shame, right? But it's just childhood. Yeah, I want one of these actually around this person. Tell me more about this person. Let's have a look. Okay, look, I don't think there's anything sinister, okay? It's not something sinister. I don't think it's intentional, although there was one here about there's too many people involved and I had an ulterior motive, hidden agenda. I don't think it's too sinister, guys. I just think there is some childhood coping mechanism which is still running the show, running the engine. And maybe that's something that, they haven't really looked at, and it might be affecting you. If you're a song, Virgo, throughout the last couple of weeks of May, all right, lyrics might mean something to you. The band, all right, just the title, Um, what we got for you, Virgo? Don't think by no doubt, okay? Check that out. Don't think by no doubt. There might be a subliminal message. The lyrics might mean something to you. Was it don't speak by no doubt? I think this card is wrong, actually. I don't know. I could be wrong there. Correct me down in the comments. Don't speak. I know what you're thinking was a line in that. Okay. Whatever that might mean for you, Virgo, check out the song. If it's not your genre, you've only got to listen to it once and then, dump it, right? But there might be a message in there for you, okay? Cards work in mysterious ways, and sometimes music is a great form of healing. It's, some powerful messages in music. So, Virgo, good luck with the last couple of weeks of May. It's not negative, all right? It's all about growth and healing and becoming mature and, kind of like it's being self-regulatory. If someone that you're dealing with has issues, encourage them to get help, or, you know, but maybe they go silent. My silence is not a game. Please leave me be, and that might be a bit of a problem. Breakdown in communication, because they might come across as feeling like they've got it all together, and then you spot this little kind of like one foot in, one foot out behavior, and it might do a number on you. And of course, you just want to talk about it, right? But is this person ready to talk about it, or is their ego still protecting the fact that for them there's nothing wrong? It's about you. Do you know what I mean? Projections, these kind of things. All right, complex people we are, us human beings. Virgo, take it easy. If you like the content, please like, share, or subscribe, and I do my best to help you. If you want a personal reading, you can reach out at moderntarot.net. or browse the YouTube Modern Tarot store. There's many products there, and have a look. And I do my best to give you some clarity on your personal situations. In the meantime, Virgo, take it easy, and I'll see you back here for another reading. Take care now. Bye.